How are you doing? Yes. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with me. I appreciate our time together. Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Jesus been watered. We have come treading on path through the blood of the Son. Now from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is fast.
True to God and true to our native land, true to yourself. Keep it real. Stay true. Stay true to yourself. And it starts with our relationship with God, definitely. Knowing who we are. That's the only way. How you doing, Mr. Jefferson? You're supposed to be in the studio with Mr. Jones and Snoopy D. I hope y'all could hear. Could y'all hear the music? Could you hear the music, Mr. Jones? That's what my delay was, because Snoopy D is out there chilling. I needed her in the studio, so for sound check, I was like, she out there. Because I took my camera with me out when I went out to the studio out there. Outside. To the outside studio to do the Carl Nelson show on Monday. And then, you know, how it did for me last time. And, you know, got you outside. How you doing, Miss Fleming? Let me put that up so that I won't have to look over there. And then, yes, indeed. Yes, I'm glad you heard our national anthem. Woo! Come on. Thank you. I should have, but and as usual, you know, Mr. Jones likes to enter with the music. I don't expect him to be there before the music. Exactly. The music has to be rolling. How you doing, Mr. Harris? Thank you. Mr. Newell. We got to keep this thing together. And, you know, I thought that Afro economics, Ms. Golightly, we should be the beginning of the King celebration. We shouldn't be like behind or at the weekend. That's right. Every superhero needs his theme song. And indeed, the Negro National Anthem is yours, Mr. Jones. You ready? And we need like the you know, that we need to lead the way, because Afro economics, we are acknowledging everything that Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Harriet Tubman, every civil rights leader, every freedom fighter stood for, everything that they stood for is what Afroeconomics stands for. Every time you join Afroeconomics, every time you pay an Afroeconomics membership, every time you do an investment with Afroeconomics, right? That's what, yes, indeed, Ms. Reagan, your support of Afroeconomics is your commitment to economic equality. We cannot achieve something and keep talking about economic inequality in our community without doing something about it and supporting an organization that is an advocate for our community. If we don't support ourselves, who is going to do it? You know, and I thought about the saddest part of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and everyone is that if Afroeconomics existed, then all of those families would have foundations that they would be among the wealthiest Black people in the United States of America today. Do you feel me on that, Mr. Jones?
I do.
Because of the things that I would have set up for them. The first principle of Afroeconomics is legacy. So if we have these people out here leading the way on a movement and we don't have an insurance policy on them when they're getting life threats every day, and we're not paying for their premium. You know, like, because the truth of the matter is, as a leader of Afroeconomics, I've had life threats. A man came on our social media and told me that I should be hung because I posted a commitment to the Black man on Father's Day and put up research saying that Barack Obama was wrong because he said that the Black man was not there for his family, but I actually posted research proving that the United States president was in error, because research showed that the Black man was actually more available to his children than the white male. That was their research. In many cases, they weren't given the opportunity to get to their children, but they had a greater eagerness to be with their children. So when he said that the Black man wasn't there, he misspoke. And I said it in my video, so they went into attack because I marketed it too much. I went outside my zone. I went outside my page. And somehow he saw it and he got wind of it. And he said, "You should be hung by morning." But I don't have any protection. And that's where they were, you know? That's where they were. Well, we were smaller. But because I'm a financial advisor and y'all know I'm smarter than that, my daughter, by the grace of God, will be fine if he had taken action. But I don't think that, you know, our community realizes the commitment that people make when they walk out, when they step out and show how much they love us. when they give their whole life to our empowerment. And the hardest part as I get to 30 years and I listen to Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech, when I was a kid, you just think about it, and then I look here and I see 30 years and Mr. Jones is the only person in the box. I know, to me that means like nobody cares about how much I've sacrificed. Nobody cares that I wrote this book about Black wealth. Not that many people care.
I give a damn.
But they don't care enough to show their face. Like the people that went out to the March on Washington, they sacrificed their life, for it. Like people don't care like that. They don't care like that. Like people don't care, like, when they posted and they shared the information from Monday, Carl didn't even put my name on the promotion for Monday on the podcast. It just said the guy that came the third hour. It didn't say anything about Afroeconomics. I worked 2 hours. It was absolutely free. And then I did a search. And I was like, well, that haven't mentioned me in months. I didn't even realize that. Like, maybe it's because I'm not finished my PhD. Or maybe it's because Black wealth really doesn't matter. Or maybe it's because when I speak and I say all this free advice, what we really should do and pay our taxes and do the right thing and help us for free on good advice, maybe I'm just supposed to just go up there and sell stuff like, other communities do and we do to each other. Just go and always got to be selling something. Maybe I should be talking more about my book every minute. Oh, here's everybody's book. That's what Martin Luther King should have done. Oh, what about my book? Here's my book. That's sad. That's what Martin Luther King. I have a dream that all y'all will buy my book before I leave the stage. That's where we are now. I know. Thank you so much, Ms. I know. I thank you so much, Ms. Davis. You called in and plugged Afroeconomics. I'm telling you that you better focus on God. Because your dream cannot be based on the world. That will be the bottom line. Your dream has to be bigger because much has not happened and Martin sacrificed his whole life for it. And we don't have much more. We don't even make much more money. We got new cars, more school loans, bigger houses. And when we get the jobs, you don't want to do business with people like me. You take the money to other people because it makes us feel important. even if I can help you invest more effectively. And I thank God for those of you who are smart enough, like Mr. Lewis and Mr. Harris and Mr. and Mrs. Harris and Queen Howard and those of you, Miss Reagan. I thank God for you all. But the fraction that was at the I Have a Dream speech, because they really, really were there to support him. Now that I've lived it, come on, y'all know. Most of it had to have been the media. Because there ain't no way we can still be where we are. That our families could be just broken apart like this. That we can just not care about the sacrifices that we're making, and that when we call to try to get help from one another, we can't even give each other respect. There's no way. There's no way that Martin had a dream that we would grow up to get jobs that when we talk to one another, we talk to each other like we're animals, like so
we hate each other. Like we hate each other.
Like we hate each other.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a black man. Mr. Jones sounds like a black man. Let me treat him like he's the scum of the earth.
And there it is.
Oh my goodness. I think he's coming in to rob the place. What do you want? And this is us. It is not. My tears are from how we treat each other. Not from how they treat it. I became an entrepreneur to serve us so that I would get to this and be happy. Because of leaving corporate America to take care of my people. I was in my 20s, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, excited. I can't wait to take care of my people because I got some good ideas. I know how to take care of us because we don't need to be robbed. And then we do what? We go out of our way to get robbed. Forget her. I'm not even going to run it by her. I don't even want to see her. And who gives me the benefit of the doubt? White people, give me the benefit of the doubt. Give me opportunities and put my name in it. Treat me like a human being. And then how can we not? How can we do this? I don't, this is not Martin's dream that we're living. We gotta, I don't know. I just thank God for Afro economics, no matter how small that we stay. No matter how small that it stays, it is a safe place for me. I want to live and die here. I want to live and die here in my place. If I don't do the webinars, if I don't do the podcast, if I don't do the live radio and share my brain with anybody else, I will stay in my Afro economics and study and just be with those who God puts in my world. Because maybe sometimes you're talking, you know what I mean? That we're talking to an audience, like that was maybe what Martin did. Like he was talking to an audience that didn't appreciate him, and that's how he got killed. Like we don't need to talk to an audience that's not listening. Talk to those who want to hear your message. I love you, Mr. Lewis. I love you and your entire family. And thank God for you all. Everything you all represent. I love what you represent and the love that you bring to your family. Everything. You and your wife are beautiful. It's everything. It's not like just talk about it. Like, Black love is not like a just phrase. It's a verb. Like, it's real. You can feel it. It's not a t-shirt. You can see when people love each other. Yeah, but I think that people should be able to feel when somebody sincerely cares about them. Like, you should be able to know when I'm talking, when I really care about you, and when somebody's just talking, trying to always sell you something. And I'm amazed that the other community, they actually expect to be empowered and educated. Our community expects to be raped and exploited and sold and all the time. So like I hear comments like, like why didn't you sell me something quicker? Mostly from females. Like, you want me to be transactional when you need to be empowered. You need to move away from allowing people to use you that way. Stop. Stop being transactional. We don't people have a pile of statements and they don't even know what they have. And then you want me to come in and add to that? But I love you too much to do that. And that's a problem. I can't change who God made me to be, and I'm not going to. I'm not, because that's not what Martin's dream was. Martin's dream was for us to become he said dangerously he said dangerously selfless. Dangerously selfless. That's my goal. That when I leave this planet, that Mr. Jones will say, JB always looked out for me. That's dangerously selfless. And one day when I was on social media and this young lady told this young man, Delilah had to kill Samson. I was telling y'all one day in the members meeting, Delilah had to kill Samson because if she didn't kill Samson, they were going to kill her. Whoever they is. And I said, but that's not love, She said, Delilah really did love Samson. But if Delilah didn't kill him, they were going to kill her. So imagine that in real life. So they're saying that we are supposed to, this is what she was saying. And I will never ever forget that. Like, I'm just looking at this, like in real life, like she's putting this on his social media page because it was saying that beware of the Delilahs in your life. And she said, bro, but Delilah really loved him. But she didn't want to die. Like, that ain't love. Love is about sacrifice. What am I supposed to say? Well, Mr. Jones, the bus was coming. Somebody had to die. It was you and me, buddy. Dude, threw him in the bus. That's not.
Don't
No.
do me dirty.
Huh?
Don't do me dirty.
You
Don't
know
do
what
me
I'm
dirty.
saying? You know what I'm saying? That's not love. No, that is not love. Like, not to mention the fact that as a registered investment advisor, I am legally required to look out for your best interest. Thank God. But that Lord, God supersedes that. And as Martin Luther King said, look, we approach King Day, that he said, dangerously selfless. Let's do this. How powerful is that? That's what he was. And I'm committed to it. I ain't backing down. People give up. You know when people give up. And that's why this shit happens to me. Because they think, oh, she ain't gonna do that. They need to know that shit. I lifted more than my body weight over my head on the bench today. That's why I do that. Because I'm the greatest. I'll bench press 200 pounds. I started last year struggling to lift 250, 260. You know what I'm saying? And shoot, I'm young. Not to mention how young I am. We cannot fold. We cannot fold. Yes, God has put his greatness in me to let him know, don't take my tears for weakness. My tears are my expression of my commitment to God, that I will leave everything. He said, leave it all here. I'm giving it all to serve the people God put here for me to serve. And I know it ain't everybody. I'm only serving the chosen few. That's it. So when you are the chosen, you know what I'm saying? And we are the chosen few, people are not going to give us an easy time. They're not. And you know what? And thanks be to God, because what if they did promote it all the time? And people did figure it out. And they did figure it out. I couldn't do what God put me here to do. Really, I really couldn't. Because I teach each of you, and I spend time with each of you, and I want to do that till I take my last breath. And if I got all too popular, I would not be able to do that. And that's what I like to do. Because the rest of these people out here, oh, they turn you over to an assistant and all that. You never hear from them again after you become a customer and all of that. Well, my customers will tell you, they deal with me. They get on my calendar, they deal with me. And I love it. That's what I love to do. That's what I love to do. That's what God, that's my gift. That's what I love to do. I remember I was going through really hard times. And I kept calling my church that I was going to then. And the minister just would not call me back. Would not call me back. I said, dear God, don't let me be that person. Don't let me be that person. My members, no, I'm committed to them. But if you're not a member, you're not committed to me, period. And I had to learn that. No, and you have to learn that. Like, you have to learn that. It's kind of like, people who think that they're married and they're not married. You're not married. Like, don't be married when you're not married. You're not married. Don't act married. When you're not a member, you're not a member. We're not committed. We're not committed. Like, so you don't be selflessly, dangerous and sacrifice your life for people that aren't committed to you. So that's where people get drained, because I believe that we give too much of our life to people that you're not supposed to be committed to. And they get bitter and mad, and then by the time you're with the people you're supposed to be with, you're all mad. Like, like kind of people go to work and they're all nice to everybody at work, and then they get home and you're kicking your dog and mean to your family. So it's like you gave all these other people who are not going to be there for you when you're on your worst day and need somebody to change your bedpan. Like, no, we got to get that, change the thinking. Who's going to be there? Because I'm going to tell you, I know that Afro-economics members, something happened to me, they're going to be there for me. Thank God. Especially Mr. Jones, Lord. God bless him. You're a blessing. Thank God for you. They have like a special line in heaven for you, because I know people in high places.
Thank you, JB.
You be like, over here, like, there's this comedian, and it was like, he said that, it was like, who was it? It was like, it was really funny, but it was like, you got to know, and it was like, you got to know somebody. It's like, you got to know somebody that knows Jesus to get in. So this guy was like, oh, my mama knows Jesus. Tell me, you get my mama. So his mama came up to the gate, and his mama said, yeah, I know you. That's my son. Let him in. And then this other guy came up, and the guy was like, let me in. And then he said, Joel, and it was supposed to be Joel Osteen. And he said, Joel, you don't know nobody? And it was so funny. I was like, that is so ignorant. Who was the comedian? But that was funny, because he said, Joel Osteen, you don't know nobody? That was like funny. I was like, oh, why you got to pick on Joel Osteen? That was just a joke, Joel. I hope Joel gets in heaven. But that was funny, though. Who was it? Somebody gonna say who that was, because those comedians always use the same lines, don't they? They go to every state using the same line. It was somebody, like, where it was I saw it. Y'all know I don't get out much, so it was recent. I forgot what it was, and it wasn't. It might have been Cat. It wasn't Cat Williams, though. It was somebody smaller than Cat. Mathia. So let's look at some key ways, I think, some parts of income. I wanted to talk just briefly about income, wealth, and power, and thinking about the differences. Now, income, a lot of times we think that income automatically gives us power and wealth, but it's not connected at all, because income is just the money that you make that's on your W-2. So you can make a lot of income and have no wealth at all. So, and that can happen, and happens a lot in our community, because if the things that you're buying with your income don't have any appreciation. So if you're using your income to buy luxury cars, and the value of the car is going down, well, then the income, is just going away, because the only things that are going to add to your wealth are assets that go up in value. So if we look at from the time where the I Have a Dream speech was done, and where we are today, there really hasn't been any increase, unfortunately, in wealth in our community. And we're on the decline, unfortunately. And in income as well, especially if you adjust it for inflation. We have some serious challenges in there. And, and then if you factor in that there's a growing concern with the level of school loan debt. The school loan debt that our community is acquiring is reducing our wealth dramatically. And a Black person is 3 times more likely to have school loan debt than a white student. So that's, this is, so that's pulling down our wealth and the wealth of that student. Just myself as an example, when you get out of college and you have school loans, you're coming out in negative loan. That's negative. You have all this. You don't have anything but a car loan and a school loan. So you're pulling down, huh?
You graduate from college in debt. Yeah.
Turn off your mic for a second. Mute the yeah. That's it. And it's a really scary thing out there. And it's become commonplace. And unfortunately, most Black graduates don't pay them back. Within, I wouldn't say most, but a large percentage, within 3 years, haven't even started paying them back. So that's when, I know that when, Robert, I think his name B. Johnson, that paid off all those loans for the Morehouse students. I figure the federal government probably gave him a big discount for doing that, hopefully, because he's smart. Because they factored in we probably weren't going to get any of these, you know what I mean, for a long time. So he can pay back say half of those, and they're still coming out ahead. So hopefully he said, look, you usually don't get any of this money back. And they just start paying it back maybe 4 or 5 years down the road. So come on, let's negotiate this. I'll give you, I'll pay it, half of it, and let's call it paid. Boom. So he didn't have to come up with all of it, and then they got rid of the debt. This is hypothetically, but at the same time, he needed the tax write-off too. But then it was weird because right after that, then he got that tax evasion issue. This is weird. So it's we have to, from a I Have a Dream perspective, as practical as dreamy as we want to be, I think that it's important that I beg of our community to appreciate someone like me who always brings in the reality. I'm not just poetic. I'm bringing in really what we need to do, because I really feel that there's a growing number of people in our community that are aging that don't know if they qualify for Social Security or not, because they haven't been paying into the system long enough, and they don't really know what to do and that Afroeconomics is a program that really could help them organize themselves. And they don't know who to really talk to. And that they're most of the time they're signing up for very expensive programs that are exploiting them and not really taking the time to sit down and talk to them about how to really address it. And they're talking to people who don't know what they're doing. Just some counselors that they've signed up. There's some people sitting there, not anyone that's really experienced and knows about what they need to actually do. But I think that instead, someone will say, oh, she's trying to get us to cooperate with the system, or like this guy called into this Carl Nelson the other day and said, like, you got the slave mentality. It's like, that is, how can someone that has had their own business for almost 30 years, never had the luxuries of probably the salary that he has, have the slave mentality? It's like, who has the slave mentality? It seems like he does. But he doesn't understand that he has the slave mentality because he has the slave mentality, and that's really sad. Or is it the slave mentality? I don't even know what the slave mentality would be. I'm that far from a slave mentality. What would the slave mentality be, Mr. Jefferson?
Well, basically, it would start with him. How does he feel? What is a slave mentality? To me, a slave mentality is you still exist what it was years ago.
But he's saying that it's following the rules, I think. But
following the rules?
Yeah. Doing it the right way is a slave mentality.
Well, apparently he's picked up somebody else's mentality. I think that's the new wave now. You have a certain political group who doesn't want to follow the rules. They like to make rules, but they don't want to follow them.
And the problem is they're going to have to suffer the consequences because there's just no way around it. Like, you can't. My thing is, like, you can't spend your 20s, 30s, 40s not paying the piper and then get into your 60s and 70s and then want to figure out, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah. Maybe they didn't expect to live that long.
Right? Well, then you're going to have to do what you got to do. But it's, and then like he was saying, like, we need to have our own this and our own that and our own this. But they have no idea what I have gone through. Like, he has no idea those tears from where they come from. Like, he has no idea, what it's like when you gotta create your own income. Like, he probably knows what it is to go and get paid. And he doesn't want to go answer to somebody, but he doesn't know what it is when you've got a whole bunch of people to answer to. And everybody wants answers. He doesn't know what it is when you see planes flying into a building and your stomach is full of an 8-month-old baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't know. And you're a stockbroker. And they close down the stock market, and you big and pregnant. And hell no. And you own a business, and then your husband leaves. And you just had a 4-week-old baby. And then you just, he has no idea. You don't control the business things that happen to you, and you don't control the personal things that happen to you. You just have to keep moving because you're living in a place of selflessness when you have your own business. If you want to make it, you better put yourself, you know what I mean, your own concerns, like, but when you're like that, even to be the type of person who will hurt someone else's feelings, to have that type of, you know what I mean, audacity, that's not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur wouldn't even you don't even have that type of you don't even have that in you, because you're too much want to help somebody, and you're thinking that's not going to help. That's not going to help if I say that. If I say that this person has this slave mentality, let me tell them that they need to this or what, you're gonna give them something that's gonna actually give them some power. And then I would know that he's equipped to actually, if he said, well, I think you need, then I would know, okay, this person is equipped to actually lead the way for our community. That's what we need. Entrepreneurs that can lead the way for their customers, for the young people coming behind them, that have to be committed to service. People go, I'm so tired of this job, I'm going to start a business. They might as well forget it. When you want to start a business, you have to I have a dream of helping people. That has to be your dream. Not, I'm trying to get away from helping people. That can't be it. Every entrepreneur is the best employee. Everyone. A good entrepreneur they can work anywhere. Don't you believe that?
Yes.
Anybody would want them to work there. I'm that's my thing. I've always had to talk myself out of going to get a job. And people, I get emails, calls every day. People wanting me to come there, wanting to buy my business, wanting so and so. That's because they want that fire, that commitment to service, that selfless, that dangerous selfless. That, shoot, seriously, girls don't pass out. She'll get up at 3:00 in the morning to make sure that you get there. She'll do anything to make these people happy.
They also wanted to get rid of the competition.
Right.
Because of what you offer.
Right? Yeah. And that's what I thought sometimes. I was sometimes, and I thought about that with that person calling in. I said, they could be a negative competitor trying to say something negative, to put negativity into people. This, we don't know how many hecklers were out there on the I Have a Dream speech. There was somebody out there probably with some sort of, sign up, and they were asking them to put it down, the whole speech, yelling, shut up. And somebody had to tell them to sit it down, There's always something I keep on my phone. The Malcolm X said that, you cannot be successful without getting criticism. You just can't. It's just, you have to expect it. And I have to remind myself. It's just that I don't think that people know how lonely entrepreneurship is. And then, as women, we're not socialized, what I mean, to go into battle this way. So I have to really, um, change the way I've been socialized because I just never thought that people would be so mean. And I never thought it would, take so long, for me to um, accept it. I know this, and then I always forget. It's like things just roll off me, and then it happens again. Someone will be mean again, and then I'll go, it's like it's the first time somebody was ever. And then it's like, how many times don't you know that just people are mean? You know what I mean? I just forget. But I guess that's the best way to live because if not, you become bitter. So you have to always believe that this person could be like Mr. Jefferson and Mr. Jones. You know what I'm saying? So I just think of them as you. You have to. Because you can't, if not, life is no fun. Life is just no fun, scary. So you have to, just think, that you have to stay in the dream zone, like that book that brother wrote on positivism. When he said keep your imagination, keep it big, keep it big. I just have to keep it big, and keep it big. Yeah, but I imagine just that of just a happy place. Of just a happy place. It doesn't have to be big as a Washington lawn, but may we all be in a happy place of wealth and good income. And
Can I ask a question, JB?
definitely.
When you receive the criticism, which sounds like more of an attack,
Yes.
how did you respond?
I said, what do you mean by that? And then he said, we need to have our own banks and we need to have our own businesses and we need to, and I said, I agree with that completely. That's why I have my own business. I said, but we need to, focus on learning how to run these businesses so that we set them up properly and that we have a good structure and that we don't just work these businesses and then they just fall apart. We need to learn how to pass them on to other generations, and everything. So that's the kind of thing that I teach in Afroeconomics because we don't get the right support. And a lot of times our businesses go to these government programs that get them to set up the business, but they don't have a real entrepreneur to help them realistically. So they don't have a real entrepreneur that's mentoring them that you all have in me at Afroeconomics. And that so that and that's what I was trying to explain to them. That I agree with that, but we also but that's but we still are going to have to live in this society that we're going to have to work together. The more businesses that we have, that's going to be great, but we have a lot to develop and we have a whole mentality that we have to change because the biggest challenge for our businesses is the lack of interest from our community in our businesses. So we have these businesses, but our he can't force someone to come to his business. So he's still going to have that challenge of getting your customer. Just because you have a Black business doesn't mean that everybody Black is going to come to your business. The majority of Black people go to other firms to invest their money. They don't even call. They don't even think about Afroeconomics. Like, and I sell everything that the other firms do. It's not like they can say, well, I need to buy such and such a stock, and I say, no, I don't, I do everything they do. So it's like they, you know, so it's not like they don't, what I'm saying? We're not limited at all. It's just that they don't have any interest in looking at it. And I get that. And I get that. It would be, and I get it. And it's almost like, hey, that's cool because it's not like they're actually calling and then, oh, they didn't like something. So at least they're just not even trying. Look, you can't say, oh, they did it, they called, but they didn't like me. Like, no, they didn't even call. So that's better to say. They can't say, well, I called and they didn't do blah blah blah. Like, no. They just don't. They don't even try. So, and most of my friends, like I have Black friends that work at white firms, and the majority of their customers are not Black. So they don't. The thing about Black people at other firms, they're not special. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it just depends on how you want to feel. Like, I created Afroeconomics because I like to make people feel special. Because I like to feel special. Like, so we like make each other feel special. Like, but because when I worked at a white firm, Black people would come in, but I didn't think they like felt special. And sometimes they would like feel uncomfortable and they would say things like, maybe I should have dressed up. And I'm like, no, you're fine. You're the customer. You don't have to dress up. I dress up. You don't have to dress up. Like, and then, but they were like, you know what I mean? Feel different because they were, in a majority firm. And they would kind of like feel like they would forget that you're the customer. And they would feel like they have to adjust. I don't know. But our mind is just different. And so we really have a ways to go. And I also feel that for some of us, from a civil rights perspective, we still feel a sense of achievement. Like Nick Cannon said, that when he dates a white girl, he feels a sense of achievement. That I feel some Black people, when they go to a white firm, they feel a sense of achievement. Like, that I'm at such a firm. And it makes them feel special just because they can say, that they're at that firm, So, and, that, if that, that is what, makes a person feel special, that's, Martin Luther King, said like that was part of his dream. Like Nick Cannon was saying in an interview the other day, he was like, we can date whoever we want now, blah, blah, blah. Like, he was like, I feel it makes them feel special that, that makes them, feel special because you can. And I don't know if when we were pushing for that integration, if we felt what we were going to do to Black businesses, because I remember when I first was the first Black broker at the firm that I was, well, second, but the person before me he was famous. So he didn't like sit with the regular brokers. He was really famous person. So he had a name and a whole different office. So I was like the first regular Black broker. So he said that one of my clients that I found, she said that company didn't let Black people come there to invest. And a lot of Black people don't realize they're probably investing at companies that historically did not allow Black people to invest there. And there's a lot of companies that still exist that used to like to insure slave ships, and you know what I mean, that have a long history of making money, you know, off our oppression. And that if that makes them feel successful, you know, it's something to process. But I think that those of you who are committed to supporting a Black firm, I commend you, because I believe that Martin Luther King, I have a dream, I hope was to say, to see a firm like this exist, you know, that and for me to survive the struggle. You know, I didn't have to choose to focus on us, but I feel like that I think it's very important. And I do think that we have specific financial needs that do deserve to be addressed. And that I feel like that if Afroeconomics didn't exist, that there would be a lot of things in our community that would be ignored. It like just because we don't acknowledge things doesn't make them any less real. No, like it's like we do need to realize that Black women are very highly likely to grow old and live in poverty. Even though reports keep saying how highly educated Black women are, there is a problem with Black women growing old and living in poverty. And that needs to be addressed. And I'm doing everything I can.
Well, JB, in my opinion, there's a certain level of acceptance that people still are dealing with. And they may feel that they just have a problem where they have to be accepted by whites.
Yeah. And
I mean, Nick Cannon basically said it right there. You know, it's you don't have to do everything to be like whites.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some
they
people
don't
feel that
expect
once
it.
they're able to do that, they've made it.
Yeah. And they don't expect us to be like them. It's something that we've done, you know, that we expect to be like them. But in our attempt to do that, we're forgetting about our reality, you know, of where we are. So if we get a loan to get a car, and then you're not, you know, just say a woman gets a loan to get a car and she has a house. So she has a loan for the house and she has a loan for the car. So, and she makes $5,000 a month and she's spending like 80% of her pay on those two bills or whatever. Like there's very little left for her to save. She has a $1,000 car payment. You got a Benz, and then she got a $2,500 mortgage, which is, you know, average now. And then, you know, what? So she's, you know, up to $3,500. Then she's got her utilities and everything. She's up to $4,000. No, and she's she's like, and then she's gonna bring it home like the $5,000 after taxes, and then she gotta get some gas. Then she's gotta eat. It goes quick. And then I'm assuming she doesn't have any kids, never had kids, and but that's not realistic. She's got somebody else, that needs something. She can't buy any clothes with that. She can't get her hair done. So then that's when the credit card comes in. And then that's and then so that's where you can have the house. Like, I met this one lady and she got real mad at me because she was a member, and she of course quit because I was telling her to stop spending her retirement account to keep her house, because she was living alone in her house, but she wanted to keep her house, but she lost her job. And I was like, this is all you have, is this $25,000 left in your retirement account. And she was in her 60s. And I was like, don't do this. Don't spend anymore. And she was like, but I gotta keep my house. And I was like, no, you don't gotta keep the house. You can move in with your son. Like, you gotta, and she was like, I can't, and you cannot believe how many people, when I tell them the truth, they get mad at me. This one lady was going through a divorce, and she had 2 rental properties and residential property, and the husband just left, and she wanted to keep them. So he was like, okay, you can have them. But then she had to make all those payments, and she had no job. And then the renters wouldn't pay. COVID hit. I said, you're going to have to sell these. Nobody wanted to buy in. Oh my God. I was like, they got to go. They got to go. No, I don't want to sell them. Oh, they got to go. So it's my fault.
It's your fault because you didn't satisfy the want.
Exactly.
Bad case of the wants.
There's nowhere, it's not, and then it's like, so then the thing is, if you don't get, if the job doesn't come through, you can't ever get back on track. But your best bet, is get to me quick. Accept the reality that I ain't jealous. I'm not trying to tear you down. I'm trying to help you build you up. Like, what I'm saying? But I think there's there's the negativity gets in us, and things somehow I've seen it just too many times. It's like, what in the world? How would that? How in the world would that benefit me at all? How would it benefit me at all? But I'm gonna help you out of it. I'm gonna love you in it, help you through it, everything. Help you get the job. I told this one lady, I'm gonna help you double your income by the end of this year. Watch this. We're gonna do this. She quit. Who knows how to do that but me? Who knows how to do that but somebody that's been in sales their whole life? Who knows how to do it? Thank you, Mr. Jones. But what are they gonna do? Sign up for Greg Cardone?
There's not a lot of people online who's selling the dream.
You know what I'm saying? He up there, look, he got TD Jakes now. I was like, how in the world? I could write TD Jakes like 2,000 letters, pray all night and everything. He still wouldn't reply. God would come to him and say, TD, call JB back. He still wouldn't call me back. He'd be like, what in the world? That was the devil. I ain't calling. He would not do it. I'm calling that white boy. I'm like, what in the world is he doing with Greg? What in the world? He probably thinks Jesus is white too. You know what I'm saying? That is something else. Oh my goodness. That's where oh my goodness. We are just something, I just see it all the time. And I'm like, these people like, and they'll be like, been in business since 2010. I've been in business 3 times longer than that. So what? You know what I'm saying? That's probably a lie.
Been online since 2010.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Been on Facebook since 2010. They just making stuff up. Liar, liar, pants on fire. You trip. That trip, but it doesn't matter because when you're a black woman, it just doesn't matter. That's what I thought today. Like when I was in my miserable place, I was like, it doesn't matter. When I get my PhD, it still won't matter. It still won't be enough. I get 2 PhDs, it still won't be enough. I get 3. I should just do that. I should have like 6. I would like 6 PhDs. Look, as I put on my Facebook the other day, I was like, why do they keep giving these celebrities PhDs and giving them you know what I mean? Just giving it to them. Just giving it to them. Like, why does Angela Bassett need a doctorate? What kind of research did she do? What is wrong with our colleges? I have a dream that Angela Bassett should one day have a doctorate. What in the world? I like when a PhD is for research and expansion and to help our community. So when my dad worked at Delaware State, DuPont gave Delaware State the money to send my father to get his doctorate. And he paid him for 4 years or 2 or whatever it took for my father to go to New York University, probably one of the first black men ever, and get his PhD, and paid the whole way, no school loan, and do research on historically black colleges and universities, higher education administration. And I said, that's what a PhD is for. Unlike mine, I'm studying finance because I teach finance. What in the world? Like, they just giving it. If I went to school and said, give me one, because I've been doing this 30 years, they would like, get away from us. Like, what in the world? They would give me one for nothing. Give me one, because I wrote a book already. And I've been doing this. And I got clients that will write letters for me. I got people I've helped. And I got portfolios. And I got my own stuff. Give me one. They go, girl, you don't get out of my face. That's sad, isn't it? No. I'm giving it to Janet Jackson because she can dance. Get out of my face. Do you know how many records she sold? You move. You move. Plus, do you remember that time, what was his name? Justin Timberlake pulled off her bra one time. Mr. Jenkins, you start calling, they'll be like, who? No, we're not. It's so sad. But that is like the state of the dream. They said that when Louis Farrakhan, I heard him saying this, that right before Medgar Evers was killed, he had told them, stop Christmas. Don't buy anything from these stores. So nobody bought anything from the stores. He said, they don't know how to treat us. Close down the stores. So they closed down don't go to the stores. So he didn't go to the stores. That man was killed. So the next person came in over the NAACP, and they said, Martin Luther King said, I can't believe they killed my boy like this. They killed my boy. Martin said, let's do it again. Let's shut down Christmas. Plus, they blew up the church. They killed those girls. Let's shut this down. Let's cancel Christmas. Forget about it. This is what Martin said. And guess what they said? Martin, we can't do that. We gotta have Christmas for the kids. The dream is gone. I know Martin was like, this is some bullshit. My boy is dead. And they talking about Christmas for the kids.
Still do.
Jesus ain't have no Christmas. They're just making this up.
All of these holidays, or should I say fake ass holidays,
We're making it up. We're making it up that is not part of the dream. And we're just buying into it. And they're making all this money off us. And we still have credit cards. And you think about how many black people got deeper in debt. You're not even getting equal pay. The wage disparity is huge.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, none of the holidays have been about the kids or family or none of that. They've all been about the merchants, the
Yeah.
people that make the money.
Yep. Just like this new Secure Act. It's all about corporate America helping them make sure that they get tax incentives if they set up these new retirement plans that make you save. So you come in the door and you've got to get in the 401k. And they're like, cool, you give us tax incentives to do it. Sound like a plan, but they don't have to match you. And they don't have to give you a pension. They don't have to do anything for you. They just have to make it easier for you to do it for yourself and take your money. And then you have to, if you don't want to give them your money, you have to turn it off. And then they got all this stuff, like they got people, fee-based machines, charging more than what I charge my clients. Machines on accounts at jobs, and it's legal. And people doing it, but they won't pay. They don't want to pay me nothing. They could get in Afro Economics and get my help. If they go into work and they put in a machine on it, and we'll do Afro Economics. I'm setting up these allocations and they're getting paid. Shit, them companies are like, that girl is crazy helping them people. And they go, matter of fact, it don't matter because they not doing it anyway. But when I tell my white friends about it, they go, that's amazing what you do. But like, it don't matter because we're not doing it. I have a dream. That's why Martin was like, I have a dream, I guess. I have a dream. He was like, I have a dream. It only can be a dream. I have a dream that one day we will trust each other enough to give each other the benefit of the doubt and at least try each other, at least talk to one another, at least research one another, at least consider one another, at least try, Don't give up on love. You deserve to be loved. There's still hope. Keep love alive. That would be mine. If I did a march, it would be keep love alive. Then Martin said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. And that was in his Strength to Love in 1963. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. Amen. Martin Luther King.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
JB,
Yes.
13th and the 14th.
I know. I changed it to the 21st.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
Thanks
wow,
for
it's
letting
gonna
me
be
know.
cold this weekend.
I changed it to the 21st. Yeah. But
Oh,
we're
because of the
still
weather?
on for Friday morning, though. Yeah. But
Friday morning.
this Friday online. I mean, Friday morning is our meeting, our Zoom meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
but the physical meeting is next week,
Next Saturday, all day.
next Saturday.
Next Saturday, all day. That's right. Next Saturday, the 21st. I just need a little bit more time to get myself together.
Yeah, it might be warmer that week.
I hope so. I'll ride the boots up. The boots up.
Everybody have a good night.
You have a wonderful week. Yes, indeed. That's
And maybe you can take us
right.
to the auto show.
When that, oh man. Don't let me find out it's that week.
It is that weekend.
Isn't that weekend?
Sell, sell, sell. That's what it's all about. The big
I'll call
sale.
you. Let's do that.
The big sale.
Do it.
Oh, and it's restaurant week too.
Do it.
Next on that week. JB Cars and Restaurants. Spin, spin, spin.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Invite. Amen. I'm excited.
To the place for which our parents sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the Son. Now from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is fast. God of a
wonderful week. Enjoy your King Day.